Here's a task for you. Name some of the good emotions. Happiness, love, gratitude, yes. Now name some of the bad emotions. Anger, sadness, fear, yes. Congratulations, that was a trick. No emotion is inherently good or bad. Emotions are just emotions. For example, take a knife. Is knife good or bad? Inherently, not both. It's how we see it and how we use it. And that's exactly how emotions are. Every emotion we experience has a purpose. The emotions that evolved over thousands and thousands of years, all of them are here for a reason. So firstly, emotions are neither good nor bad. Welcome to my channel. My name is Neethika. I'm from South India. I'm going to be talking everything about personal development on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. There is a range of emotions that we feel, and some of them we are not really fond of, like anger, sadness, etc. Certain emotions are already difficult to go through, and on top of it, there are some myths and misunderstandings which make these things worse. So those are the things that we're going to address today. So number one, emotions are neither good nor bad, which we already discussed. Second myth, if you feel emotions very deeply, you are a sensitive person and you're completely out of control. You really need to get your emotions under control. I'll tell you why. There is no such thing as feeling emotions deeply and feeling emotions not so deeply. Everyone feels the emotions the same way. What differentiates us is how we act on it. Let's say you and I are both afraid of heights. The fear that we face is the same. Like the kind of fear I have for heights and the kind of fear you have for heights is the same. The emotion is the same. But what might differentiate us is how we act on it. For example, you fear heights, but you can still go stand at the edge of a tall building. And I do fear heights, but I cannot even climb a tall building. That's the only difference. The only difference comes in the action, but the emotion we feel is the same. So there's no such thing as being an overly sensitive person. Myth number 3, you are your emotion. Have you heard people say, I'm a sad person, I'm an angry person? They kind of make the emotions a part of their identity. If you do this, stop. You are not your emotion. We got used to saying, I'm sad, I'm angry. But the right way to say is, I feel sad, I feel angry. Your emotions are just a part of your human experience. They are not you. You are not a sad person. You feel sad at certain circumstances. You're not an angry person. You feel angry at certain situations. It's important to rephrase these things, because if you don't, you'll keep telling this to yourself over and over and you'll start believing it, and how we believe is how we act. Myth number 4, expressing emotions is weak. Has anyone ever made you feel sad for crying? Like, strong people don't cry. Don't be a baby. We should never cry for certain situations, certain people. This is fundamentally wrong. Emotions are basically energy in motion. So when you're feeling an emotion, it's energy getting formed inside your body. And this energy is supposed to go out. And there are ways in which our body does it. Like when we are nervous, we sweat. When we feel happy, we feel like jumping, or we feel like moving our body. And when we are stressed, we kind of feel this weight in our head and we feel like lying down. And that's exactly how we cry. Crying is a way of letting emotions go out. And trying to suppress these emotions is only doing harm to you, both for your physical and mental health. So it's absolutely healthy to cry, to express your emotions, to let that energy out. If anyone says otherwise, do not listen to them. Myth number 5, if I feel something, I should immediately act on it. Now here's a super duper example for this. Let's say you had a breakup and you both mutually agreed that this relationship is not good and you broke up. Now after breaking up, you miss them. Now, just because you miss them, should you text them or call them? Should you do it? Missing them is a normal reaction, because you have spent a lot of time with them and suddenly they are not there in your life, and obviously you're going to miss them. And just because you miss them doesn't mean you have to text them or call them. Just because you feel like doing it doesn't mean you have to act on it. Instead, ask yourself, what is the right thing to do? Now here's another example. Let's say your manager keeps taking credit for your work. You've already told them about this and they kind of gave you some reasons, and now you're in a meeting filled with people. Yet again, they took credit for your work. And at that moment, any sane person would feel insanely angry, and you'll feel like shouting at them in front of everyone, or calling them out in front of everyone, or just saying some passive aggressive things in front of everyone. You feel like doing it, but do you do it? No, because that's not the right thing to do. Even if you feel like doing it, that's not the right thing to do. And this applies everywhere. Just because you feel a certain way and you feel you have that urge because of that emotion doesn't mean you have to act on it. Feeling an emotion is one thing and acting on it is another thing. Just because you feel an emotion doesn't mean you have to give in to the urges of that emotion. Trust me, when you do this, you'll save yourself from a lot of trouble. Myth number 6. If you feel sad or scared after making a decision, the decision you just made is wrong. Again, same example. You broke up with a person because you were not really happy in the relationship, but after breaking up, you feel sad. Does that mean you made the wrong choice? Now let's say you get a really great opportunity to speak in front of 100 people. So you say yes because obviously you want to make use of the opportunity. But after saying yes, you feel really scared. Does that mean you made the wrong choice? After making a choice, if you feel certain way, that doesn't necessarily have to be true, like fear or sadness, etc. Instead, like I said before, ask yourself questions. Is this the right thing to do? If yes, then it doesn't matter how I feel. It's just my mind giving me some cooked up scenarios and giving me that emotion. But what I did was right. What the choice I made was right. So ask yourself questions and get the clarity you need. Myth number 7. If others don't agree with how I feel, then I must be wrong. Let's say you and your friends go watch a movie and you personally really enjoyed it and loved it. But your friends kind of didn't like it. They found it boring. Does that mean you are wrong and they are right about how a person should feel about that movie? No, exactly the same with every other emotion you feel. How you feel about certain things is very personal to you. It depends on your wants, your needs, your likes, your dislikes, your experiences. It doesn't have to match with how others feel. Comparing feelings is not the right thing to do. There's nothing wrong with feeling a certain way about certain things. So I've covered 7 myths about emotions, and no matter how much we talk about emotions, some emotions are really hard and we would want them gone. If you're still watching this video, here's a bonus for you. You might have heard the word emotional regulation, which basically means learning to handle your emotions better. And the core of emotional regulation is accepting it, allowing it, and sitting with it. But what each and every one of us do is the opposite. We don't want them, we don't want to feel them, we try to avoid them. The more you try to push it away, the harder it gets. But if you allow the feeling, if you sit with it, if you feel it, because emotions are meant to be felt, if you feel it and if you give the space for the emotion, it'll just pass. But when you don't allow this emotion, the emotion will keep waiting. It's like outside your door, constantly knocking. It'll keep on waiting until you allow it. And the knocking gets louder and louder and it only gets worse for you. Now, how do you allow this emotion? Spend time to sit with it. Allow the emotion, sit alone and listen to that voice. Try to talk to it like a human. Ask questions. Why are you here? What do you want? What triggered you? What can I do now? Try to write it out. Whatever comes inside your head, whatever this voice is answering you, if not possible, and if you have a person to talk about this, a trustworthy person who will not judge you, will constantly listen to you, talk to that person. And if the emotion returns, welcome again. The emotion will come to you as many times as it needs in order to finally leave. So it doesn't matter how many times it's there outside your door, knocking on your door, be humble enough to welcome it again. After all, it's your body, it's your mind, it's your emotions. If you don't allow it and you don't give space for it, how can we expect anyone else to help us? If you're still here, my sincere gratitude for watching this video. If you like my content, support my channel by subscribing and liking this video. See you soon.